A satanic statue in the apartment, and the gang members said they wanted to offer the beast a soul. Police say Hernandez Rivera and Alvarez Flores killed the girl execution style. Killers confessed to the crime after they were arrested. 22-year-old Miguel Alvarez Flores, there you see on the left, and 18-year-old Diego Hernandez Rivera on the right appeared in court this week. Now, according to HPD, most MS-13 gang members are in this country illegally, and these two murder suspects could be as well. Police say they have reported the two to Homeland Security. Now, an investigator told us this morning that officers found evidence in the apartment where these gang members were keeping underage girls that led police to believe there was some sort of satanic ritual activity happening there. HPD says there were 3 underage girls in the apartment of the murder suspects, a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old who was murdered, and then a 16-year-old girl. Police say the 14-year-old told detectives she was kidnapped, drugged, and sexually assaulted by members of the MS-13 gang. Now, the 14-year-old also reportedly told investigators she was moved from one apartment to another, forced into consuming drugs and alcohol, then at one point was held down as Alvarez Flores tattooed the image of the Grim Reaper on her body from her knee down to her foot. This girl also told police the 15-year-old at the apartment was a girl named Genesis. She believes Genesis is the girl.
Hey, Shalom, this is your brother Yuanathon. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. Yeah, so I ran that clip for you guys at the beginning to give you context of what we're going to go into. Now, there's been a funny situation happening at the Texas-U.S. border for years now. Remember, just maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, you had the Issacharite children that were being detained at the border in cages, separated from their families and parents.
The Biden administration is working to find housing for thousands of migrant children who have entered the U.S. at the southern border. Right now, many are being placed into overcrowded facilities. These detention centers reportedly do not have enough resources to provide proper access to food, beds, and good hygiene.
Many families are being falsely told the border is open. The Biden administration is also no longer using the Trump-era policy of expelling migrant children because of health concerns created by the pandemic. New temporary processing facilities like this one in Donna, Texas are opening. Children interviewed by Neha Desai, a lawyer representing migrant youth, say they were hungry, some only showering once in 7 days. Desai telling CBS News conditions were so overcrowded that they had to take turns sleeping on the floor. The Biden administration is now turning to FEMA for assistance.
So under the Trump administration, they were sending immigrant children back, right? But then under the Biden administration, they were, detaining them and trying to figure out, okay, where can we put these children? And I'll say this, when you look at the billion-dollar traffic industry regarding the little ones, you find out that a lot of prominent Democratic figures are in cahoots with that business. And I'd say, children being with their parents in whatever third world country are in better hands than being, in possession of this devil, all right? Because I guarantee you a lot of those kids that were detained went missing, if you catch my drift, all right? But they went from that situation to now the total opposite end of the spectrum of just letting anyone in, all right? And the reason I make this lesson, I put this clip up, we touched on it yesterday, is I want to get the wheels turning, all right? For somebody that's just passing, may click on this video. What is the end of all of this going to be? Okay, you have a lot of whistleblowers who've been bringing up the fact, hey, look at all these countries down here emptying out their prisons and sending people up here. You have a lot of countries across the pond who are sending military-aged men over here. Clearly not regular men, trained men, okay? They're sending them over here as World War III is getting started. As they're, moving forward with human trials with the MOTB, the RFID chip, because they want to make money cashless. They want to hook man up to machine so that you can walk in, you can scan and pay, they can track you, they can cut your bank account off if they need to. You basically become an utter slave Because if you don't have that mark, like it talks about in Revelation 13:16, which they're forwarding that, you can't function in society. All these things happening at the same time, along with this, America's going to be a forever purge situation. The scriptures say that, and we went into it yesterday, and we'll get into it a little bit in this lesson. The culmination of all these things happening at the same time is we're going to witness a very dark time, worse than anything that you could look back to and point to in history. So it was like this. It's not going to be like anything. It's not going to be like anything that we have reference to. All right? You go to Matthew 24:21, Daniel 12:1, and let you know that. So far beyond that, we could think that the archangel Michael is going to have to stand up. Okay? So let's get into some of these precepts. All right, I mentioned it, so let's get it. This is Daniel 12:1. All right, here on the left, we're reading the KJV version. It reads, "And at that time shall Michael stand up," the archangel Michael, "the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble," Jacob's trouble, "such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered." So you're going to have the remnant of the nation of Israel who are going to be delivered. Then you have Zechariah 13:8, two parts of our people who are going to be destroyed in this troublesome time. Everyone that shall be found written in the book. So those written in the book of life, yeah, they're going to have passage to evade the perils that take place in this thing. Doesn't mean they're not going to go through it and witness and have to suffer difficult things, but they're going to be able to navigate out of it by way of the protection from Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, all right, by way of their faith, okay? But they're still going to, have to suffer straight things. Let's go get that. All right, this is 2 Ezra 7:17. The point is in 18. All right, it says, "Then answered I and said, O Lord, that bearest rule, thou hast ordained in thy law that the righteous should inherit these things, but the ungodly should perish." All right, "Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight," all right, and that's a pathway of difficulty. Not like straight as in a straight line. It's a pathway of difficulty. "Straight things, and hope for the wide. For they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the wide." So they're not going to have an escape. There's not going to be hope for them during that time. They've leaned on the flesh to try to escape the curses and deliver themselves here during their grace period. They're going to have to try to deliver themselves in the time of Jacob's trouble, which is impossible because no one can deliver themselves from the hand of the Lord. All right? So yeah, the elect are going to be in the midst of all of it, but they're going to have passageways to escape. They're going to still suffer things, but there's going to be a way to evade it all. The Lord's going to be with them in the midst of it. The same way he was with them in the midst of the first Exodus. The Lord had that angel, which was Yahweh Shai, watching over the children of Israel, during all the plagues. All right, so this is Matthew 24:7. It says, "For nation shall rise against nation," which we're seeing. All right, which is prophesied, the war of Armageddon. You can go to Joel, the 3rd chapter. Gives you a better understanding. The Lord is gathering the nations, specifically in that part of the earth, the coast of Iran, and as they're in the midst of them doing war with each other, he's going to intervene. Go to also the 2nd Ezra, I believe, 16 or 13, one of the two. And it gives you even more vivid description how the latter end of that battle was going to pan out. All right, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines," all right? Famines are being orchestrated by the Most High, first and foremost. But they're being orchestrated nonetheless. All right, so this wicked wants to have control over the food sources. Okay, as this chaos that he's also orchestrating begins to pop off. Because the police forces are being trimmed down. 911 across the country is being trimmed down. Okay? So he wants to pop in the middle of all that chaos with the solution as the hero, which is going to be this new way of existing within society. Okay? For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences, which we've seen basically a jamboree or like a test run with the whole pandemic and how that affected Earth and traffic and how life went from day to day. And earthquakes, which beginning of 2024, the so-called New Year, had a record number of earthquakes in the earth in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrow. So we're seeing the beginning of sorrows right now. All right? Hasn't really quite dawned on the people yet that life is never going to be the same. Verse 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted. All right? So then the demonization is going to come in the midst of all of that as well. Those who call on the Lord, those who fear the Lord, a great demonization is going to come upon the church. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you. Some of us are going to be martyrs, many of us are not. And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake, right? So there are going to be many who standing stiffly for the name of the Lord and his way, like it talks about in 2nd Ezra, during that crowning ceremony. All right? And some are going to, seemingly die for it. We know that death isn't final. All right? Verse 11. And many false prophets shall arise and shall deceive many. Okay, you got false prophets who are going to be acting like they're about Yahweh Shah, say, hey, sometimes you just got to go along with what the devil say. You're going to be deceiving people. Then you got the wicked and their false prophets like Noah Yuval Harari. People are going to subscribe to his way. We have a way to immortality and we don't need God. We can make our own way. You're going to have people that look at that and be like, oh man, these people, they're the way. They're the passageway to life. Okay? Verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Now let's look at that word there. The love of many shall wax cold. Alright, so we look at that shall wax cold. It goes to psycho.
Strong's G 5594. Psucho.
Alright. The second definition there says to be made or grow cool or cold. Waning love. Alright, let's go down to the Strong's definitions here. But yeah, that what I wanted to get was that word psycho there. Okay? And a lot of people are going to turn into psychopaths. Alright? They're going to have complete disregard to how their actions affect others. Now here in America, most people, they already are psychopaths. They exhibit those signs of having complete disregard, complete moral disregard, and complete disregard for how their actions affect others. They don't have, empathy. They don't have those things, right? A lot of people do. That's what, the society here in America, that's what it breeds. Now, they're not committing heinous acts right now, but as these conditions take hold here in Babylon, they're going to be willing to commit those acts, especially when there's no consequences for committing those acts. They're going to be willing to commit those acts and not have a second thought about it. All right? And that's just the ordinary person here. Not only, we're not talking about just, the people that are already on the borderline just doing crazy stuff. We're not talking about, these back of the wood Edomites who will literally eat you. The regular Edomites are going to be willing to take it there. All right? So what are those conditions that are going to come upon the earth? What is that going to turn the average person into? Along with, you have all these people who are crossing the border, the MS-13 gang, who are in the open. They got across the border immediately, had a sacrifice in Houston. A human sacrifice to Baal. In a peacetime. So what's getting ready to come here, man? And I'll bring all this out because through the terror of the Lord, we persuade men. This to encourage you to repent, because the only way to get through all of this is going to be if the Lord is with you. It's the only way. Yeah, because sedition is coming to a city near you, man. It's going to hit some places sooner than others, but It's coming to all of Babylon. Right now, our people, you know, they see these things and they, oh, that's not that close to me. Oh, that's just a one-off. Okay. Scriptures say that these conditions are coming upon all the earth. And it's, you know, if you know prophecy and if you believe, it's clear to see. All right, 2nd Ezra 15 and 15. Right, it reads, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh." Okay, for the whole world. "And one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands." So at every level you have, on the civilian level, people are going to have those guns. Some people are going to actually have literal machetes and whatever they could use, because people are going to run out of ammunition. You know, whatever they could use to defend themselves, because people are going to run out of resources too, not just ammunition. So they're going to need things. And, you know, in most of these places, you know, there isn't just food growing in Babylon where you could just survive off the land like it used to be. This devil he's completely made this place a concrete desert, so to speak. And people who are growing food and do have food and land and stuff like that, you know, they're going to get ransacked. And then they're going to need to protect it. So it's going to be, you know, every man out for himself. It's going to be a battle royale. Verse 16. For this to be, so every level, again, I wanted to mention. So at civilian level, you know, people are going to be also be going against the powers that be within their own countries. And the nations are going to be warring with each other as well, with their missiles and their technology and their drones and all these things. Okay? Verse 16. For there should be sedition, there it is, among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, because there are going to be checkpoints. It's going to be martial law. People aren't going to be able to go and come to particular areas as they please. It's going to be quite a time. For their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. How much more so the women, right? And man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, the love of many wax and cold, there it is, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So this time that I'm speaking of is written to come. This isn't speculation. This is what's written. Okay? And the only people who, again, are going to be able to evade it and navigate it are going to be those who the Lord is with. It's that plain. It is that plain. Alright, so Abarat Zazab, man, this lesson was edifying. Just another lesson to try to jolt those who are half-stepping, who are unconcerned. Okay? I'm going to give all praises once more to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to give the blind apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to all the brothers, and of course for you sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.